Hello everyone, welcome back to channel Musa Gaming here, and today the new update rolled out overnight, and I want to talk about everything that came with the update, my 2 cents on how I feel about each and every aspect of the update because I think some of them are pretty controversial. And what they actually mean for everyday players that are watching this video. Now, before I begin, go ahead and please drop a thumbs up as well as subscribe to the channel. A lot of people who are watching my content, unfortunately, is not subscribed to the channel, and I actually do want to get that subscription up to 100 subscribers if I can. So if you can contribute to that by clicking on the subscribe button, I'll be very appreciated. But with that said, let's just go ahead and get started. Now, the new cosmetic shop. So the new cosmetic shop is accessible from the city skin changing UI button right here, and then going to this cosmetic shop button right here, and that they give you a bunch of different options for you to actually choose from: city themes, nameplate, play cues, avatar frames, and special. Now let's start from the city themes. So you can actually get the past city themes that you weren't able to get from this purchase with this new currency called clams. Now I'll go over a little bit about the clams later, but then again, the listed city themes are actually only 5% epic city themes. It's unfortunate that we don't actually have uh, what's this called, the range engineering city themes here. I'm assuming because we only have like one or two of them, but very interesting. And the way that they're priced, I have no idea why they're priced in specific ways. I'm assuming because of how rare they were at the time of their release. But some of them are 8,000 clams, and then a lot of them are actually 5,000 clams. And they're not based on the stats. You can see that the infantry health 5% is actually 5,000 clams, whereas 8,000 clams is actually cavalry 5% defense, archer 5% defense, infantry 5% defense. So and that doesn't mean that Archer 5% defense is not available anywhere else. So interesting. And how you get clams, I think you can actually get clams from purchasing. So just like gems, they have same pricing as gems. And they also have the first time purchase bonus for gems like these. So I think the 8,000 one is more likely something along the line of $30 if you actually get rid of this first time purchase stuff. And the 5,000 clams thing will be actually somewhere around $20. So what does this mean? What significant does the city theme shop being added to the game actually have to everyday players like you and me? So a lot of you who are watching this video is probably already holding on to at least one epic theme that is going to be health theme, most likely for your troop type of your choice. But with that new city theme added, I think that's going to actually help some of the players who are in the later part of the game who actually enter a season of conquest to have more accessibility to legendary city themes through purchases, in my opinion. Now, why is that the case? For now, they actually release just the epic city themes just to taste the water, I think, how the community feels and so forth. But then again, a lot of the times, as new players enter Season of Conquest, new players actually don't have a lot of the legendary city themes, whether or not that you've. The only way for you to actually get those are through either Zenith the Power events, which are very, very difficult to win for most players, or purchase them from Season of Conquest coin shop. You can see that 650,000 of those KVK coins, you can actually get one of those Twilight Falls, which is probably one of the most popular city themes for Rise of Kingdoms player. Now, why are they adding a cosmetic shop if you can actually already buy city theme from playing KVK? I think the story is simple. Is because as new players enter new season of conquest KVK format, you actually be too busy spending your KVK coins currency on the accessories that you can purchase from them. For example, ring, horn, whatever else that you can actually purchase from the KVK shop. You really need to prioritize getting those over getting new city themes, because at the end of the day, 10% defense, that's, let's say, a jump from 5% defense or 5% health of epic city theme, is not going to compensate enough for, especially when they're way more expensive than KVK accessory blueprints. It's not really worth it at the end of the day, in my opinion. And also at the same time, a lot of players, the way that the game actually has changed over the past couple years, is that a lot of new seasonal conquest entrants entrant, new Season of Conquest players actually are too busy getting enough blueprints for you to get your ring and horn and other Season of Conquest accessories to a level of talented and iconic fiving, which probably will take somewhere between 6 to 9 different blueprints for you to complete one single march. For my horn, I think that was the case where I actually had to invest maximum amount of blueprints for me to get the iconic 5 talented, which means that you don't really have spare KBK coins left over for you to actually spend on things like Twilight Falls. So what does that mean? That means that if there is a way for people like me to acquire, let's say, Twilight Falls or any other legendary city themes that will fit you the best at a cost of, let's say, $200, $300, it might actually be a good deal for a lot of you. I'm not saying that's like the right fairly priced amount for those city themes, but I'm just saying that that is where I think this city theme cosmetic shop is actually directed towards. So for example, let's say if you have Twilight Falls here and it costs you like what, 70,000 clams, which will cost you $150 with the first purchase bonus. I think a lot of people would actually get that city theme over not wasting, but using your KVK coins to get that. So that's just my opinion on it. That in terms of how that's directed towards, I think that's actually a very good and easier. It makes it easier for a lot of the new players to catch up to old whales. So I think that's a very good feature that's being added to the game if it is directed towards that direction. Now, if it is going to stay this way for now, I think it will just be helpful for those people who are just starting off and who doesn't have the city skin theme yet. And then if you want a 5% infantry buff, boom, you can just get it for $20. If you want cavalry 5% buff, boom, you can just get it for $20. So yeah, either way, I think this is a very useful feature that has a ton of potential benefits for people who are playing the game, especially for new players, I think. But let's just go ahead and move on to other things. So we have the nameplate. I don't know how to say that, but it's like a license plate for your own name. Everyone has one of those, and then those are about $2 ish from the shop. Not too expensive, so pretty good. And avatar frames as well. Those are about $3 to $5 for a lot of people. And if you want one of those, I think those are pretty good. I think my favorite one that fits my own personal avatar is going to be this one. But it could be very helpful for a lot of you that are looking for one of those. Now you can also purchase those city decorations, which is pretty cool. I think you can get them for about $10. I think it's a little too expensive for city decorations, in my opinion. But some of you out there are like going ham on actual city decorations. So I think that's pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for city cosmetic shop. I think I'm most excited about the city theme purchasable opportunities. If those of you who are looking to buy, let's say potentially Twilight Falls, because you didn't play the game long enough, you didn't get in top 10 for the first 3 KVKs, first 2 KVKs, and you really want it, but then again, you don't really have spare Season of Conquest coins for you to actually get those. I think this is a great option. Oh, my apologies on that. Yeah, I opened my phone by accident and then it just turned on Rise of Kingdoms, so that was unfortunate. But okay, so that's one feature. That's one main feature of the cosmetic shop that was added to the game today. And now let's go ahead and move on to museum. Now museum, there's 2 commanders that were added to the game today, and those are Chandragupta and William. Now Chandragupta, 10% cavalry attack, 3% skill damage. In all honesty, even if this was like cavalry health, I don't think Chandragupta can come back. Unless they add new mechanism that would actually make Chandragupta more relevant, like Alexander the Great was for, let's say, the smite stuff. But then again, right now, I don't think Chandragupta is really that relevant at this point. But William is indeed relevant, and then having 100 damage factor, active damage factor added to his kit is actually pretty huge, in my opinion. So having this relic, if you're thinking about using William, is actually good. My recommendation is that if you only have two cavalry marches, my recommendation is that you actually use Arthur with Philip and Huo with let's see, Huo with Joan of Arc Prime, which will give you that two best cavalry pairing on the field. And if you're working on a third one and you want to utilize your Nevsky as well as William, then my recommendation for you is actually to use William with either Huo or Nevsky and then make those three marches. Now, right now, my setup is that I don't have Delta formations built yet. So I'm still using my wedge formation with Huo and Arthur and Nevsky and Joan of Arc Prime. So and I don't have a third equipment set for cavalry. So unfortunately, I don't have uses for William at this very moment. But then again, for those of you who are looking to use him as your third cavalry march, this is going to be a big bump in his power level. And not only that, as they actually add more gems of relic to the more tiers of the relic to this William Williams museum buff, let's say this goes up to 200, 300, then William actually might become even more relevant to the game. So counter attack damage reduction and active damage skill factor being higher, this museum buff I think is pretty on spot for William to be more relevant in the game. And just a side note though on William, let's just go ahead and find William. Where is William at? That 100 damage factor. So I was actually wondering this. So that 100 damage factor is actually for this active skill only, I think. And it does not really get applied to this one right here, which I think it will trigger by hitting basic attacks, but this is not part of the active skill, so unfortunately this won't get that 100 damage factor buff, which I think could have been nice, but unfortunately that's not the case. So that's the museum buff that was added to the game. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies, which is actually accessible by each commander. There's this new booklet icon that is added to the game. If you click on it, it will give you the suggested strategy for each commander in terms of talent tree, equipment, and formation. So let's just start from the very top, talent tree. So if you're using Huo, they actually give you pretty good talent tree suggestion. Yeah, I agree with going 100% on feral nature. Although, are they suggesting that we only go up to one, which is not good. Just max out feral nature and then don't worry about those 2 points here. And what else is there? And then I would actually just ignore this right here and then add it to the feral nature 100%. And Undying Fury and then Emblazoned Blade. Yeah, so we can save 5 different skill point or talent tree points and then actually max out this one, max out feral nature, and then that will be basically the recommended talent tree for me. I think this could be helpful for those of you who are just starting off, but then again, it's kind of misleading as you approach higher level, in my opinion, because it's actually giving you a wrong suggestion. But what I think this could be helpful is that if this tab right here actually had the most frequently used pairing actually here, so it will give you like, oh well, every time a governor uses Paul Joan of Arc Prime or Paul Arthur, it would actually record it and it will rank by how often they're used. So, for example, right now, if I was to guess that was actually the case, we will have Paul and Arthur here at the very top, and then the most used talent tree would be a lot more beneficial than whatever they have here, because I think that talent tree is pretty misleading. Same goes with full Arthur pairing that they actually have. So let's just actually go take a look at someone else. So if you go to Arthur, this is Ho. So Arthur Subutai. I'm assuming that. Oh yeah, yeah. You probably don't want to use Arthur Subutai this way. You either want to max this, or you want to max this, and you don't want to go anywhere near this versatility direction, I think, except for, let's say, if you want like a couple points here. So yeah, So talent tree, don't trust him. Is my 2 cents on it. But I think what could have been done. This is my suggestions to the Lilith team. If again, if you have the most frequently used pairing here and then most frequently used talent tree here, I think this could have been a lot better than what they have here. Yeah. So that's my suggestion. Let's go ahead and take a look at the equipment suggestion. Okay, so equipment suggestions. Don't trust what they have here. Simple reason why I'm saying this is because one, you do not want cavalry legs, set legs built for cavalry. You want Ash of the Dawn, which will give you 12% health, and this 11% cavalry attack is way worse than Ash of the Dawn. In fact, I think even leadership legs are better than this. So in terms of total punch power for cavalry. So yeah, don't trust this. Do not trust this equipment suggestion. I would actually just go on YouTube, watch Musa gaming videos or anyone else's video that will give you like the end game suggestion for your equipment sets. And that's what I would suggest. Don't trust what they actually have here because this could be very misleading. The gloves, same way. You don't want cavalry defense over more percentage of health, which is the non-set cavalry gloves that you actually can have access to, which is what I have right now. So this is your end game cavalry gear that you want. You want the Ash of the Dawn, which will give you 12% cavalry health, and then Navarre's control, which will give you 8% health. Don't trust what they actually suggest you, but granted, for both talent tree as well as equipments. Now let's go ahead and look at the formations. Yeah, like this theoretically is all true. Like you want special inscriptions on all of them for wedge for hull. Yeah, that's true. But then again, if you actually know that, if you already have all those, to be really honest, I think you don't really need to like take a look at it. This just basically lists out all the special inscriptions for this formation. So now, like, what I think it could have been instead of this is actually if you have, let's say, 3 different suggestions for each of those for inscriptions. So special inscriptions obviously will be the number one choice for everyone, and then rare inscription, except for a couple of really bad rare inscriptions, they might actually be worse than some of the double inscriptions. And then I think if they had the third suggestion that actually had like a normal inscription suggestion for each formation, I think this could have been very more informative. But this just basically gives you a suggestion for whatever you should be using, like the formations that you should be using, in my opinion. So for Arthur, I'm assuming that they have Delta if they want you to use with Subutai. So yeah, like if you're using Arthur, just use Delta. If you're using Huo, use Wedge. I think for that this is informative. But if they could have had like the normal inscription suggestions, along with legendary and rare inscription suggestions, I think this could have been a lot better in terms of informative for new players. So yeah, but I think if they have this framework built already, it would be a lot easier for them to actually work on those improvements that they could actually have for commander strategies. But all in all, pretty cool feature, I think. If you're just starting off, you don't have much idea of how you should be building out each commander. It saddens me that they don't have the right talent tree and equipment suggestion and like sometimes like this right here, like you shouldn't be using Arthur with Subutai in any different scenarios for many different reasons. For one, I think Arthur is a good field commander. A lot of his skill set actually doesn't get activated if you're using him as a rally lead, if you're using him as a garrison lead. Subutai the same way. A lot of his kit is actually used only when he's rallying, I think. Yeah, if the commander's leading rally, you get attack and defense. Yeah, so you should never pair, in my opinion, Arthur with Subutai. But they're actually suggesting it just because they're both combo commanders. So I think commander strategies does need a little bit of work that they actually need to do from Lilith's side. But then again, overall, I think the framework is nice. if they actually take in some of my suggestions, which is actually like, oh well, what if we actually had the most commonly used pairing instead of you suggesting them, and also what if you had the most commonly used talent tree, what if you had the most commonly used equipment suggestions, and if you had like the normal or rare inscription suggestions for those, I think it could have been a lot better. But the framework wise is pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all the features that were added to the game that I could find this morning. But pretty cool update. Very excited for upcoming features that has come in for the game in the past couple patches. And yeah, I'll probably come back with another video today where I would actually go ahead and show you a little bit of my migration, because that has gained a lot of viewership from my channel. So I'll probably do that. As you can see, I already filled up all the hospitals so that I can actually pay the least amount of passports for my migration later today. And it's going to happen around 5 p.m. here, which is in like 5 hours. So hopefully that will go well. No problems at all. So if you want to stay tuned for that, more stories from Rise of Kingdoms, more guys from Rise of Kingdoms, please go ahead and follow me. And again, if you can help me reach that 100 subscribers, that would be really appreciated. But as always, I'll see you on the next video.